Have you been really wanting to go to Europe, and now that the summer is here, there are no excuses left? What if the only problem that you're facing is that you don't have a Schengen visa yet? And if I say that I have the complete information of how to file a successful Schengen visa application, will you still do it? So let's dive right into the video. So in this video, I'll be sharing what exactly is Schengen visa, the different types, the documents that you should be submitting with your application, the application form itself, which is kind of hard and confusing. So I'll be sharing my form on the screen so that you can refer to it. The cost of this application, how long it's going to take to process the application, which country should you be applying your Schengen visa to, and the latest update on the Schengen visa. So let's begin with what is Schengen visa. So Schengen visa allows you to travel to 27 European countries, and this visa is for the non-European nationals, which permits people like us to travel within the European countries for a period of 90 days within a 180-day period. So there are different types of visas. There are type A, type B, type C, and type D. And the most important one that is applicable to non-Europeans or the non-EEA or EU nationals is the type C visa. And type C visa comes in different forms like the tourist visa, business visa, airport transit visa, etc. And if you're looking to apply the tourist visa or the business visa, there are again two types, or maybe three types to be honest. There is single visa, single entry, then there is double entry and multiple entry. The single entry, as the name suggests, you will be able to enter the country only for one time. The double entry means that you can enter the country maybe once or twice, and multiple entry is that you can go and visit the country how many ever times that you want, but you can only stay in the country for like a duration of 90 days within a period of 180 days. So there are ways of applying to Schengen visa. You can either apply to majority of the countries on the VFS website. And there are countries like Greece, France, they offer the Schengen visa application on their separate website. So no matter where you apply, you end up filling up one single type of document, that is the Schengen visa application form. That is the most important form, along with the other documents that you are asked to submit. So this application form may look different in each of the portals. So if you're applying via the VFS, it is in a different format. Similarly, if you're applying on the France website or on the Greece's website, those are different. But after the procedure is done, once you click on like save or maybe download the application, you come to the same application form, which I'm going to share on the screen. Next is to understand what all documents you have to submit for a Schengen visa application. I went through the requirements of Schengen visa application from Greece, Netherlands, Italy, France, Germany, and Spain. And I was able to identify that most of these countries ask for the same thing. So let me share that. So first is the passport. You should have a passport that was issued within the last 10 years, and it should have a maximum validity of more than 3 months, and also it should contain at least 2 blank pages. Next is the visa application form. Like I said, there are different ways of getting the visa appointment. You can take them through the VFS office, or maybe going through the websites of the designated Schengen countries like France and Greece. They offer their visa appointments on their specific websites. But this visa application form that you're going to fill may look different based on which website you're applying on. If you're applying on the VFS website, it looks different. If on the France's website, it looks different. On the Greece's website, it looks different. But ultimately, like I said, when you click save and download, it comes into the same format, that is the VFS application form that is found on the European Commission's website. So I'm going to share how you can fill this application form without any confusion.
So this is how the application form for Schengen visa looks like. Once you have completed filling all the details on websites, no matter if it is the VFS website or any designated website based on which country you're applying to, the final outcome is this form, which you have to take a printout of, and on the right hand side you have to paste the photo. On this right hand side you can see the column which says for official use only. You don't have to fill anything at all on the site. So on the right hand side nothing goes in. All you have to take care of is the left hand side, which you will be completing when you are applying on the website. So just to give you a clarity, you have to go with your first one is your surname, followed by if there was any surname at birth, that means if you have changed your surname, you have to put what your surname was at birth, followed by the first name. Fourth one is date of birth, place of birth, country of birth, and the current nationality. So all of these details you can find from your passport, followed by the sex, male or female. What is your marital status? You can include that. In case of minors, you can include the surname, first name, address. In case of minors, you have to include the surname, first name, and address. If different from applicants, the nationality of the parental authority and legal guardian, followed by the national identity number. I put my Aadhaar card number. Since I'm Indian, I have put my Aadhaar card number, but if you have any other national identity number, you can put that here. Followed by the type of travel document. Mine is an ordinary passport, so I clicked this option. Number 13 is the number of the travel document. Mine is the passport that I'm submitting as my travel document, so I entered the number that's my passport number in this box, followed by the date of issue of the passport, which is valid until and issued by the Republic of India. Next is the home address and email address. I put in my current home address and email address, followed by the phone number. Residence in a country other than the country of current nationality. Yes, I am actually Indian, but I'm living in the UK, so I have a BRP card. So I clicked the second option and I entered the the BRP number and also its validity. Current occupation, I shared what is my current role and which company I'm working with. Also the employer and employer's address, telephone number, I share all of that. If you're a student, you can share which university you're studying in. The main purpose of the journey, so like I said, the type C visas, both tourism and business is included along with the airport transits. So I chose tourism for my the Schengen visa application and clicked that. Then the member state of destination. So most of the people usually, if they plan to cover the Schengen area, they try to do as many countries as possible. So if you're one of them, you can put the first destination as suppose France, and the member state destination will be France, and the member state of first entry will be France itself. If you're one of them, you can add all the destinations that you plan to cover. If it is France, Germany, Italy, Switzerland, and any other Schengen areas, you can add them here. But what will be the first entry? If it is to France, you have to mention that here. If I'm going to Portugal, I would mention that in this number 23 box, followed by the number of entries requested. So this is where you have to add your entries. If it is single, two entry, multiple entry, add them here. Select the number of entries and how many days you plan to stay in each of these countries. Try to mention that very clearly. Then comes the number 26, which asks Schengen visas issued in the past 3 years. If you have had any Schengen visas, try to mention the date of validity, date it was issued and it was valid until. You can mention that. If no visas where this is your first time applying for Schengen visa, try to click on the no option. And the number 27 is for the people who have answered yes in this box. So they're asking if your fingerprints were previously collected. If you know that yes it was, then try to select the yes option, and it will be good if you know which day you had given your fingerprints. It will be easy. But if you don't remember, try to answer no, which may require you to take the fingerprints again, but that again is not a hassle. At least it is better than not having the issue, not having the visa issued in the final place. So try to answer the questions as genuinely as possible. Next one is entry permit for the final country of destination where applicable. So that is based on which country you're going to enter at the last part of your destination. But if you're just doing one country, so you don't have to answer that question. Next, the intended date of arrival in the Schengen area and intended date of departure. So from here onwards, your whole itinerary starts. So you have to share how many days you're planning to be in the Schengen area, followed by the surname and the first name of the hotels that you have booked in, followed by if someone is inviting you, like your relatives are inviting you, try to put their name, or if it is your Airbnb that you have booked, try to put the name of the Airbnb owner, and then you can share the address and email ID of that Airbnb hotel or the relative you're going to stay with. If it is like, this is mostly for business visa, but if you are applying for tourist visa, you don't have to fill in this box. Next comes the cost of traveling and living with during the applicant stay is covered. So since it is on a tourist visa, I would fill this by myself. The applicant is going to, that's me who's going to cover my own tourist visa, as well as all the other cost of traveling and stay money. So that is what this box is about. And what's the means of support? I had chosen cash, credit card, prepaid accommodation, prepaid transport, and all of these I would give the proof. As in cash, I would show the bank statement. Then credit card, if I have a credit card that has a balance which I'm going to use for my traveling, but I would also show the credit card's bank statement. Then the accommodations that I have paid for, as well as the transport, which includes a flight, I would give all of these receipts as a proof. But suppose if you are applying for the business visa, this is where you have to fill the right hand side box. So if it is by the sponsor, like the company sponsoring your visit, you can click this option, and you can also select how they are supporting you. Number 34 is for a person who has their family member in the EU or EEA or as a citizen of these Schengen area. So you can fill up these details based on your own case, but for me it was not there, so I didn't fill it. Followed by this place and date. You have to sign in your place and date from where you're filing the application, as well as a signature, and then you have to go through what's written over here. If you don't have any much details to fill in here, you can directly scroll down and then take the place and date and signature. So what I do is up to here, I complete the form and then click on save and print. And once the form is printed, I would take the 2 copies of it. And once I'm in the visa office or the VFS office, that's where I'm going to fill in the place and date, and I would sign in front of the officer at the VFS office. So that's all. This is a very straightforward way of filling the application. So I'm saying this again. This current view that you're seeing is towards the last step of filing the application. If you are filing your Schengen visa application, you will be doing it on the websites, and these websites have a very different format, and usually those are like radio buttons, and each of the questions appear one after the other. And once you have completed the entire questions, and when you click on print, save and print, you get to see the application in this format. Before that, you will not be seeing it in this format, but I'm sharing this so that you get an idea of what questions will be asked and how to fill the questions, how to answer the questions on the visa form.
Third requirement is the passport size photo. So you should attest at least 2 recent passport size photos, and each country has their own specifications. More or less, they say that your face should be visible, your ears should be visible, there should be white background. So read the requirements of which country you're first applying your visa to, so that you don't have any confusion or any problems while you're going for the appointment. Next is the travel insurance. Travel insurance is mandatory, and it has got 3 specific criteria that you have to look into. First is that they guarantee minimum coverage for at least 30,000 euros in medical expenses. Second is cover any expenses that might arise in connection with the repatriation for medical reasons, and cover you in all the member states of the Schengen area. It's most important one. And there is a fourth one. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. So cover you during the entire duration of your trip and stay in the Schengen zone. So whenever you're applying for a travel insurance, you have to go through these specifications and make sure that these are being covered. There are insurance companies like TravelWise, AXA, and they offer very good specifications. Just read through them, and I think usually you get the travel insurance price between 20 to 30 quid, and that should be able to cover you through the entire trip. Maybe you can go for the annual one, which will actually help you in the duration, which I'm going to come in the later part of this video. Next is the proof of financial means. So the financial means, you already need to have some amount that you need to show for at least duration of 3 or 4 months in your bank. Each country specifies how much money you need to have in your bank account. For that, you need to submit your bank statement. If you're employed, you can submit your salary slips, etc. And this will allow the country to know that the applicant has sufficient financial means to sustain living in the Schengen area during your trip and also during your holiday, so they don't have to worry about it. And this will actually make your Schengen visa application more successful. Usually the rejection happens when the financial data that you submitted was not really up to the par. So make sure that your financial data is good. Next comes the proof of accommodation. You have to share the hotel reservation, rental agreement, or the letter of invitation. This is usually if you have a friend or uncle or aunt living there, and you have relatives who are inviting you to come and stay with them for a few days in any of the European countries, you can show the letter of invitation. Otherwise, like I did, I showed them the hotel reservation, which was more than enough. Then we have the proof of travel itinerary. So you have to show the round trip tickets and itinerary of the trip. So maybe if you're traveling, if you're going to one city in that country, then after that you're going to another city, and ultimately you're taking the trip back from any other city or maybe from any other Schengen area, you need to mention that. So all of this you're already mentioning in the application. Just you have to show the proof of your travel, which includes the accommodation as well as the flight. Then if you are having any minors, you can show the parents' consent, which is like a certification that you are okay authorizing the child to travel around in Europe. So these are the major requirements in terms of the documents that you have to submit. If you are submitting these documents that they have asked for, after your application is completely filled, you will get the checklist. You can follow that checklist as well to make sure that you're including all of these details. If you are keeping all of this, I don't see there will be a problem of rejection. Usually, like I said, if they find that you are kind of tricking them with the financial means, or maybe the travel itinerary, like the accommodation and the flight details are not matching with your itinerary, so that is where the confusion happens. Try to make them as clear as possible, as simple as possible. Maybe for countries like France, they ask for cover letter. You can submit a cover letter saying that, okay, this is how I want to travel. Please try to grant me the maximum duration visa, etc. Now coming to the part which is the best country to apply Schengen. So as far as the data goes, in the AXA's website, it says that it is all based on the 2022 data. It says that Iceland is your best bet, and it has approved the maximum number of Schengen visas. Malta used to be a good option, but in 2022 they didn't approve as many Schengen visas as they used to. So it is like to try your luck. So Malta isn't that a great option. Then coming to the countries like Czech Republic, Estonia, Finland, Latvia, Slovakia, your chances are better than average. Then coming to countries like Greece and Italy, Switzerland, they are slightly tougher. Also, countries like France, Germany, Portugal, and Spain, they tend to be the toughest to get the approved for a Schengen visa. But from my experience, I can say that I applied for a Portugal visa and it was fairly simple. I submitted all the details that I shared with you, nothing more, nothing less, and I got my visa successfully. So they say it is tough. Maybe in terms of like, okay, if you are not submitting all the important documents, there are chances of rejection. Also, they tend to give you for a shorter duration. If you are traveling to any of the European countries, or you plan to travel to any of the European countries, try to apply for the Schengen visa at least 15 days in advance of your travel, or you can do that up to 6 months in advance, nothing more than that. So coming to how long does it take to process the application? Usually the normal processing time is like 15 days. There are chances where you can escalate this procedure by paying an extra amount, so you can get it within like 5 days. And also the period can get extended up to 45 days, so they don't guarantee this. Usually this is what they have mentioned in most of the websites, so let's go by that. But I have applied for Schengen visas twice now. For both the times, I have noticed that you get it within 5 days, or maybe like maximum of 15 days. The 45 days period, I don't know if anybody had such an experience, but they have mentioned that on their website, so it is good to keep that in mind. Next comes the duration of Schengen visa. So you have to understand this concept of the duration of visiting the Schengen visa. The Schengen visa usually gets granted for a single entry most of the times. If not, they can give you multiple entry, but that duration may not be more than 6 months. That is the maximum they would give for the first time, if you're a first time applicant. But have they seen that you have already visited the Schengen visa and you have kept to the limits, like you stayed there for maximum of 90 days within a duration of 180 days, and you have followed all the rules and regulations, your first time application was successful. Considering all of that, the second time and then the times after that, your chances of getting the Schengen visa for a longer duration increases. First time when I applied, I got it for like single entry. Then the second time when I applied for a Schengen visa, I got it for 3 years. So the chances are so different. My partner, he applied for the first time, he got it for 3 months. But then again, you share with them that you also plan to go to France or maybe come back to Portugal after 3 months. So what about you giving me a longer duration? So this is how you play a bit with the dates and the time. There are chances that they will consider this and give you a longer duration, but you cannot always guarantee that this will be the case. There are chances that they will not consider this. They will just give you for maybe like a 1 month or 3 months, maybe for 6 months. Coming to the updates that I mentioned at the start of the video, this is the most important one. So from June 2024, they have said that the European Commission is increasing the Schengen visa applications fees by 12%. So the adults will be paying around 90 euros and children will be paying around 40 to 45 euros.